What's new? Get ready.
Hello there, everyone, and welcome to episode 50 of the Play to Win podcast. My name is Keiran, and I'm, of course, joined by my awesome, amazing, fantastic co-host, Tyler. How's it going?
It is going pretty well. It's been a not that busy a week, fairly busy, but it's been a good week. It has been a good week, and I'm very happy about that. Worked on some creative things. I told you about it earlier.
Yeah.
Listeners and watchers, you'll hear about those. You'll hear about those in the near-ish future. Let's say near-ish.
Yeah, I'm excited for that to be shown off to people. I've actually managed to play some games this week, so that's nice.
I see. I saw you got a fair number in that played what we were playing section down there. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing about them.
Yeah, and you will hear about them at the end of the episode. But as we start, just as a reminder, you can find timestamps in the description of this video so that if you want to jump around to any specific thing that we talk about, then you can do that if you want to hear our thoughts on one specific thing. I should also mention that this is the Play to Win podcast, a show where we break down the week's biggest gaming news through in-depth discussion. You can subscribe here on YouTube and on podcast services if you enjoy the podcast, which we think you will, because we think it's a good show. And make sure to tick the notification bell on YouTube so you know when new videos go live. This week, we are going to be talking about two main stories, which are the Hogwarts Legacy gameplay reveal we got on Thursday, and some Perfect Dark development troubles that came out this week, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But before all that, we have some brief mentions to get through, which I will get through as quickly as possible. The Quarry, a spiritual successor to Until Dawn, developed by Supermassive Games, is releasing on June 10th. We got a trailer for that earlier. I don't know specifically which day, but it was earlier this week. The game looks terrifying. I'm not playing it.
It looks awesome. It looks like everything I wanted, like a follow-up to Until Dawn to be. Like, we got the whatchamacallit, the Dark Pictures anthology, and those have been like, those have been of varying quality. I thought Man of Medan, when I first played, I was like, it's good. Does not live up to Until Dawn. That's a very high bar to pass. But like, it was good. It was fine. I didn't play Little Hope, but I heard Little Hope was just like not good in any way, shape, or form. Like, it was like mediocre at best. So I was like, all right, I'm fine passing on that. And the most recent one, House of Ashes, I've heard is actually the best thing that they've done since Until Dawn. So I want to give it a try. I haven't gotten around to it, but the Quarry is just what I've been looking for since Until Dawn. Like, Until Dawn struck that right balance of fun and seriousness. Like, it knew what it was. It's like, this is like a B movie slasher right here. Like, your characters, you're going to love some of them, you're going to hate some of them. You can choose who lives and who dies. And like, the story was intriguing and engaging. It was really good, really well done. So the Quarry looks like, as you're saying, like, it's a spiritual successor to that. It looks like it's checking all the right boxes. You got a nice cast list there as well. So I am very much in on this game. Like, June 10th, June is just like, we're just placing games now. I'm surprised, like, oh, it's coming so soon. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll do a review for it. Maybe I don't know what I'm going to do for this game, but I'm very excited to play this on June 10th.
And you can, I will live vicariously through you because I'm not playing it. In kind of news we talked about last week, Elden Ring has sold 12 million units worldwide, including, and that makes up 1 million in Japan alone, which is pretty impressive. Another thing that's also really impressive is it is also Europe's biggest new IP since Ubisoft's The Division in 2016. That's quite a feat.
It is a feat.
Yeah, I see. You've
been, like, yeah. I was about to say, I have, like, for a little bit of context here, like, Dark Souls 3 was From Software's previous best-selling game, and that took over 4 years to sell 10 million copies. So the fact that Elden Ring sold 12 million worldwide in just weeks it's just good. It just goes to show, like we said last year, that From Soft games and Souls games, they are no longer niche. Like, Elden, like, they haven't been niche for a while. They've become more, as I said, more and more mainstream. But Elden Ring is the one to fully break through the mainstream. It has just done wonders for From Software. So, like, all the congratulations to them. They deserve it all the praise and everything.
Yeah, 100%. As a little update for people, I made it to the first boss, but that's all. I haven't beat him yet, so I didn't put it in whatever. EA Play Live is not happening this year. to my surprise, I thought for sure that would have happened because I thought they would have wanted to address all the Battlefield 2042 stuff in that show.
But I mean, like they said in their announcement, they're like, yeah, like we don't have enough stuff to get everything in one show, so we'll just like announce stuff like when things are ready for themselves, which makes sense because EA Play shows have typically just been like, here's our sports games, here's a Sims update, here's like concept art and early like development footage of multiple other games that aren't coming out for years, and here's like maybe one thing coming out this year. Like it just makes sense. Like losing EA Play is not a big loss.
No,
it's totally fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like that was like the biggest event on the calendar for the year. So I mean,
that Battlefield stuff will still get it in its own.
Yeah, exactly. Scroll down too far. News about a game I pre-ordered this week, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands will release with full crossplay and split screen support. So if you can play with all of your friends, no matter the platform, which is
good job.
Always
good on Sony for that one.
Yeah. Companies including Gearbox, makers of Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Microsoft, and EA have signed an open letter opposing Texas's anti-trans bill, which I urge every company to sign.
Yes.
Gran Turismo 7 suffered a lengthy server outage, preventing people from playing the game and bringing up conversations surrounding single-player games requiring online connections, which, I mean, I feel like that's been a conversation for a while, and my answer has always been like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, and it's like for Gran Turismo 7, like, yes, there's online multiplayer stuff in it, but like a lot of the stuff in the game is single player, but you need to be online to play any of that stuff. So when the server outage happened, I think the only thing that people could do was like the arcade mode. Like you couldn't do anything else in the game. It was just like, seriously? Like, and part of what made this so bad also was the fact that the server outage happened for, I think it was like 30 or so hours, but there was also like barely any communication from Polyphony about what was going on as well. So it's just like, there's all this going on, and there's like microtransaction stuff with the game too. This causing a fuss and everything. It's just like not a good look for Gran Turismo 7 at all.
No, I don't understand why. Like when you have a single player game, I mean, like you say, yes, it still has online components, but it's not designed to be played online. If that makes sense.
I don't want to say that for sure because I don't know. Like I haven't played Gran Turismo 7. I don't know if like there are any functions in the game that like, hey, okay, we should be online for this. But like doing just like playing on my own single player stuff, like I should be able to do that without being like having to be connected online.
Yeah. As noted by Stephen Totilo, Ubisoft has dropped the Tom Clancy name from the game XDefiant and has also essentially scrubbed the website of anything previously shown of the game. According to Ubisoft rep, though, the game will still have some Tom Clancy factions as well as non-Clancy ones, which is an interesting update.
It's funny, just as a funny note, like if you look at the tweet that Steven put out for this, he put a tweet like what the website is now, what it was before, and now it looks like a completely generic website page. It really does. There's no like the branding that XDefiant had before is not there. It just looks like a generic website page. It's really interesting. It's like, oh, y'all are really rebranding that game, I guess, or something. Who knows?
That might be an interesting story to follow along with. I wonder what their relationship with Tom Clancy is like for that game, or the Tom Clancy name even.
Well, I forgot one more thing Ubisoft related. I forgot to put it in here. They announced this thing called Scalar, I believe. It's a cloud-based thing that Ubisoft is working on. I don't know. I saw the article, briefly like skimmed through their like Q&A about it. I have not fully read into it, but they have announced some cloud-based thing that Ubisoft themselves is working on for like the future of gaming and all like that. So it's interesting. Go give it a read. Go read about it.
Interesting. And finally, a story that caught me much by surprise, and I'm really not happy with, because apparently Moon Studios isn't as stellar as it seems. A lengthy report by Dean Takahashi from GamesBeat kind of exposed some of the work culture over there, which doesn't sound good at all. So that sucks.
Yeah, it's really like it's a very very lengthy report. It's well worth the read though. I mean, it's really just basically saying that the guys in charge, it's just really abusive. They're really abusive workplace culture in terms of belittling people, both men and women. It's not like a thing where it's like just like targeting women specifically, just like demeaning people, belittling their work, inappropriate jokes and comments, and so on and so forth. It's just not a. It's just a really abusive workplace.
Yeah, they're not discriminatory. They're an asshole to everyone apparently. So
Yeah,
um yeah. Uh,
interesting read. Everyone
yeah.
should definitely give it a read.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I wanted to tack on to the end of that, from what I read of it, I think the award for worst non-apology apology should go to the two heads of Moon Studios because it's just awful.
Yeah, it's not good stuff at all. So
No.
give it a read for sure. It's a lengthy one, but well worth the read. Required reading.
Yeah. That's going to close out our brief mentions. So we're going to get on over to our first news story, which of course is that on Thursday we got a approximately 15-minute gameplay reveal for Hogwarts Legacy.
Yep.
It was awesome in my opinion. A couple of things. It launches holiday 2020. Sorry, 2022. Yeah, the game launched 2 years ago.
But we're just now seeing gameplay.
It launches holiday 2022 and is also coming to Nintendo Switch. You play as a fifth-year student in Hogwarts set in the late 1800s, I believe around about 1890 is what I read. Players are tasked with investigating a rumored goblin uprising, and the goblins have an uneasy alliance with dark wizards in the nearby town of Hogsmeade. And thankfully, kind of going off of what we were saying about Gran Turismo 7, the game is 100% offline and with no microtransactions, which is a rare sight in today's gaming space, and I'm very much here for it.
As am I. One little funny thing about the fact that it's coming to Switch, this wasn't announced during of course it wasn't during announcement of State of Play. Like it was a State of Play. A PlayStation thing is gonna be PlayStation branding all over it. But it coming to Switch was kind of revealed as a result of an Amazon listing. It was just like, oh, okay, interesting. It is not a cloud version, it's a native port. And this brought about a bunch of Square Enix fans, and myself included, just like, so they could put a native port of Hogwarts Legacy on the Switch, but Square can't be bothered to give us native ports of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5. You can't be bothered to do that at the bare minimum. You can't give us Kingdom Hearts 3 native port. Like, I understand Kingdom Hearts 3 more so, but like, really? Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to bring us to a Kingdom Hearts tangent, but it's like, it's a thing. It's a thing. But yeah, this happened.
Yeah. I'll just throw it straight back to you. What were your kind of like top level thoughts on what you saw?
So top level thoughts. I thought that this looked really cool. I thought it looked really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I had a bit of hesitancy about some things that we saw in it, which I'm sure we'll get to in a bit. Specifically, stuff regarding like the combat. I was like, a bit uneasy about, a bit hesitant on, but overall, watching this gameplay reveal and everything kind of made the game reveal that the game was bigger and more expansive than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And I was very pleasantly surprised by that, and I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the world's biggest Harry Potter fan. Like I'll sit through the movies. Sure, I've never read the books, and I haven't paid too much attention to like Fantastic Beasts or anything. But like, I've kind of been excited for this game just because I kind of like the idea of playing a game that is like set in the Harry Potter universe, but not playing as like Harry Potter.
Like it's removed from that whole time frame, so it could like kind of tell its own story.
Yeah. Actually, I'll find a quote about that just now. But while I do that, after watching the gameplay reveal and everything, I was like, this might be a game I get on day one, because like I actually really like the look of what I'm seeing. Just honestly about everything. Like I think like you, I'm a little bit skeptical maybe about the combat, because I'm like, I don't know how that's gonna play out necessarily, but no, like everything that I'm looking that I was looking at, I really enjoyed. The quote I was trying to find, I can't find who the quote's from, but it is in an IGN article by Taylor Lyles, is the article I'm reading it from. Says that Hogwarts Legacy is set in the late 1800s. Avalanche Software notes in the latest PlayStation blog that the decision to set it in this time period was to quote, ensure your legend is never overshadowed by any other hero, end quote. which I thought was a good way of saying, so that you're not the entire time being like, yo, why am I not playing as Harry Potter?
Basically, and like,
Yeah.
or like you're doing stuff, but like Harry Potter's getting mentioned and
Yeah.
all like that. Just like, no, again, it's just, hey, we are distancing ourselves from all that. We able to tell our own story here in our own time frame, and like we can respect everything that came after during in the time of Harry Potter and all, which is like the late 1900s and all, but we can do our own thing here. This is our own space and time that hasn't been explored in movies or books or film, or film. I already said that, movies or books or other games or what have you.
Yeah.
It's its own thing here. We could do our own story, have our own fun and all like that.
Yeah. One thing that I wanted to just very quickly mention before we get into the rest of kind of talk about Hogwarts Legacy is like, I've seen a lot of hate towards people who are like excited about this game from people
Mhm.
who are not excited about J.K. Rowling and her like kind of transphobic thoughts that she's voiced over the last number of years. Um, which like I kind of get, but I really don't think it's necessary because J.K. Rowling, if I'm correct, has very, very little to do with this game other than it being set in the Harry Potter universe.
I'm pretty sure that is the case. And I posted a little thread about this yesterday myself. But I was basically saying like there's been a I'm not a drama person. I prefer to stay out of drama and like not
Yeah.
partake in it or anything like that. Um, but like there's been so many this week, a whole lot of passionate, of course, like there have been many people that like feel very passionately about like against J.K. Rowling and all like that, and like don't like Harry Potter or just like against Harry Potter because of J.K. Rowling, what have you, so on and so forth. Um, and a lot of them passionate people, that aren't bad people, but like some of the responses from these people or just people that it's like super super against her. Some of
Yeah.
them I feel like they have been getting really toxic, and because they're like, I don't like J.K. Rowling, therefore I don't like Harry Potter. And if you like Harry Potter, then you're a bad person. If you like Harry Potter or enjoy anything Harry Potter related, you're a bad person because of J.K. Rowling's views, and you're supporting her and you're with her and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. And it's like I I am 100% like against her views. Like
Hmm.
they're terrible, they're horrible, stupid, so on and so forth. But liking Harry Potter and still enjoying stuff in that world doesn't make me a bad person. Like
Exactly.
it's I I shouldn't be made. I want to rules just for myself. I'm speaking I as a general, but I shouldn't be made out to be like a terrible, horrible, no good, bad person for enjoying something that just so happens to be made or in the same world as of a creator that is a bad person. Like I enjoy the world. I enjoy all these things. It brings me happiness and enjoyment, and I should be allowed to enjoy this stuff without being made out to be like, the worst person in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I think like as I've gotten older, I've gotten really good at like separating the art from the artist. Where like I don't agree with what J.K. Rowling says at all, like not in any shape or form. But that doesn't mean that I'm instantly gonna go to like absolutely hating anyone who likes Harry Potter or hating Harry Potter itself when like I have enjoyed I've enjoyed Harry Potter previously. It's like just because the person who made the thing that I like comes out with like really horrible views doesn't then make the entire Harry Potter franchise. Oh my god. Um doesn't make that franchise evil, right? It just means that it was made by somebody who is, to put it like, less than moral or less than I'm trying to think of the way I want to phrase that. Less than
Let's just say just not
yeah.
that great a person.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
this
That's basically what I'm trying to say. Is not that great of a person.
yeah, and like I feel like before we end up going on this for too long, we could really
Yeah.
sum this all up in just like a real succinct way by basically saying, one, neither of us are trans.
Nope.
That if that was not clear, Neither of us are trans, so of course our perspective on it will be different from that of a person who is trans.
Mhm.
And of course, I mean, there are also trans people who are still excited for the game and will still be playing the game, even though, you know, JK has said the things that she has and they are against things that she has said. They're still going to play it because, you know,
Yeah.
they enjoy Harry Potter. So this is not, we are not trying to say that if you can't separate the art from the artist, you're in the wrong. People are well within their rights
Mhm.
to not want to be involved with anything Harry Potter related because of what J.K. Rowling has said. That is totally fine. And people are allowed to also enjoy Harry Potter things, but still be against J.K. Rowling at the same time.
Yep.
Both things can be true, and you're not a bad person if you do like Harry Potter and are excited for the game, even though J.K. Rowling has said the things that she has said. It is important, though, to at least still be aware of what she has said and kind of
Yeah.
keep that in mind, or at least still be knowledgeable of that stuff. I think that's still important to keep in mind. But I think the only way I could say that you're like a bad person is if you do like Harry Potter and you also like J.K. Rowling's beliefs. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, then you're kind of like you're really in the wrong there. But if
Yeah.
you like Harry Potter, you don't like her beliefs, you're not a bad person at all. You shouldn't be made
Yep.
to feel like a bad person. And we should not have those who are against J.K. Rowling and against Harry Potter shaming everyone else, because then it's you're pitting two people that are on the same side against each other, and
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
does nothing for anybody. I think that's a good way to summate to just
Yeah.
round out that whole thing before getting too deep into it and all like that.
Yeah. 100%. In the interest of time, I think I'm just gonna go through and kind of give you like my favorite thing that I saw from the gameplay, and that was just like you kind of mentioned it earlier of like this game is a lot more open than I thought it was going to be. Like
Mhm.
you can take your broom and you can ride around in like the actual world of Harry Potter instead of being limited to like the Quidditch pitch or
Yeah.
like there or Quidditch field. I don't know what the terminology for that is, but
Quidditch
um
Field. Sure. Quidditch Field, I think, is what they
yeah.
call it.
Um but like also like, you can actually fully go and like explore Hogsmeade, and there's like an area in the Forbidden Forest you can go and look at, and I'm like this is much bigger than I thought it was going to be, and I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah, like I am so into this game. Like I played Harry Potter games back when I was younger. I think like on the PlayStation 1, maybe on on computer back then as well. I didn't really play any during the PS3 time and all like that. But the ones I played, they were fine, whatever, is what it is. But like this is kind of the Harry Potter game that I've kind of always wanted,
Mm.
where it's like it's not a movie based game where it's like, all right, you know, it's based on the movie. There's a certain bar for quality that it will only meet, it will
Yeah.
not exceed that bar of quality. But this is telling its own story, and you get to, you know, be your own character. You get to explore Hogwarts. You get to see areas of Hogwarts that you might not have seen before, like when they show each of the different house common rooms, and like you get to see the Gryffindor one, the Slytherin one. For the first time, you get to see the Hufflepuff one. We've never seen the Hufflepuff one in movies. I think there's like art of it online, but I think it's only fan art. I don't know if it's like official art of what the Hufflepuff common room is like. So like we get to see that one, the Ravenclaw one.
Mhm.
Get to go in these areas. You get to just walk around the castle itself and be in these spaces that you've seen in the movies and always dreamed of going to. But now you're actually able to be there with your own character and telling your own story. It's just so cool. And just it's just really awesome being able to just explore these areas like you were talking about. And I think another thing of mine that I'm really excited about is the different companions that they mentioned
Yeah.
that you'll come across and have during the story, and how you can do stories like help them on their journeys, but also like they'll be able to help you on your journey. And when it got to that part, I was like, so reminds me of like giving me a bit of persona elements here in a sense where it's like not in a sense, I guess just like, you know, like you have your confidant, your friends here, and you can help them and they can help you with stuff. I don't think it's going to be as in depth as it is in like persona, where like you go like you hang out with them, we're just you know
Yeah.
we're going to just, you know, watch a movie, we're going to just, you know, eat some food together. I don't think it's going to be anything like that, but just like I have my friends that I can bring out with me to go on a journey with me, or I could do something with them, help them on their story. it just it'll help make Hogwarts feel, it'll help the game feel more like I'm actually at the school making friends,
Mhm.
and we're on a journey together in a sense. And I really like that.
Yeah, no, I like 100%. I like it almost makes it feel like, because one of like the best things I think about the Harry Potter movies, just to kind of take it there, is like you have this like Harry's not on this like adventure alone, right? He has Ron and Hermione to there to back him up. And I think this kind of like plays into that a little bit, where like you're not just this new kid in school who's like entirely alone. You can make friends around you and have them help you and vouch for you and do whatever. And that is actually, I think, a really cool feature that I'm excited to try out when the game launches. Um
Right.
I'm also kind of low key excited to go into the Defense Against the Dark Arts class, just because
Doing
I'm
the dueling and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I'm really excited about that. Um,
Yeah.
one weird thing I wanted to point out is like they did say that like this is set like way before the events of like the Harry Potter movies. It's also set like I just googled this, so Fantastic
This is
Beasts
before
is
Fantastic Beasts as well.
yeah
Fantastic Beasts is the early 1900s.
yeah some Fantastic Beasts is 1927, so
Yep.
you're probably not going to see any characters from the Fantastic Beast movies in there either. I will say, however, I do like, and this is just me talking. I do kind of want Dumbledore to make an appearance in some way, because Dumbledore is alive during this games period. Like Dumbledore,
Well, I
when
mean, maybe it depends on how old he is in Fantastic Beasts, and I don't know how old he is in the second
he is
movie.
46.
So if this is the late 1800s, then like
I mean, he'd be like 14, 15, something like that.
no.
It's eight. If it's 1890, then that's
If is it
30.
1890 or is it 1880?
It's 1890 is what I read.
If it's 1890, then like maybe he could be a student,
Yeah,
but like I feel like that it really depends on how old he is in Fantastic Beasts and all like that.
yeah,
Like in that series. Because I mean in that series, he's a teacher at the school at that point in time.
yeah,
So it really depends. And I mean, maybe he'll be like a student as like a little Easter egg. And like that could be that. Like I feel
yeah.
like the story would be best served if any references to like people from Harry Potter are like minimal at best. Like
Yeah, no,
cameo
yeah,
appearance, and that's that.
yeah, no, like that's what I was thinking. Is like you don't even like see him. You never meet him. You just hear his name in conversation as you're passing by one time, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Just as like a
Yeah.
little Easter egg. But yeah, like I again, one like I think one of my favorite things about this is like you are almost entirely separate from that Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts universe, because that is a set way before either of those films.
Yeah. I like how like you're able to, you have the room requirement here where it's just like, hey, this is your kind of
Yes.
hub to make your things. You can make your potions and your items and you can make your robes. I like how you could customize your outfit. You're not just like
Hmm.
stuck in like your Hogwarts robes. You could change your outfit. And I think the outfit changes will like can help you visually, but also like stats wise too, like give you more defense or what have you. And it was really cool how like you can go in there, you make your potions, you can make your creatures to use while you're also in combat. So
Hmm.
like you could throw out a spell that makes you stronger, or like you could pull out, I forgot the name of the creature, but the one that you pull out the pot and it shrieks real loud and makes it like stuns all the
Mandrakes.
there you go, Mandrake, yes. You pull out and it stuns everybody. Like I was like, that's cool. Like, okay, that
Mhm.
adds more context for the room requirement and the crafting and everything.
Yeah.
And that was really awesome. And I saw it's like there was a bit of concern once the timer popped up, like 25 minutes. And I was like, huh? And then like gave context when it said, no, there's no microtransactions. Don't worry, don't worry. So it's like, oh, okay, it's just a
Yeah.
timer of like you can only make one right now. You got to come back a little bit later for more, but it's still really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think my favorite thing about the room of requirement is that like you can customize how the room looks on the inside to like what kind of wizard you are. Like
Right.
so that like the I think the first one where they were showing like the Mandrake setup, you had like more of like a laboratory kind of feel, where like
Hmm.
you had like devices off to the side, the machines and plant pots and whatever. Whereas in another one, another like kind of like variation they showed, you had just like that you could place like a cottage in the middle of it, and then you could have like a
Right.
grass area. Like
Right.
I
You see, like that part I actually wasn't sure. I was like, that's like the room required, but that's like a separate room inside the room requirement. It's like
yeah,
you go inside like this I won't call it like a greenhouse of sorts. You go inside it, and then like you're able to like, all right, now this is an open space, and you can make the space look however you want. Put a
Yeah.
house here, put something else here. I was like, that's really cool. Like
Mhm.
getting real personal with it. That's awesome.
Yeah. No, I'm very excited for Hogwarts Legacy. Like I say, I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan, but I'm definitely going to be picking this up on day one because it looks like a really fun game.
Yeah. I just want to say the combat because we didn't really touch on it.
Oh yeah.
The combat, the one thing I'm a bit that had gives me a bit of pause and room for concern was the fact that it looked real samey.
Hmm.
Like you're just like
Yeah.
spell, 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 spell. Like the same movements. There wasn't really much variation with the movements we were doing with the
Yeah.
spells. But I mean, as it got closer to the end of the state of play, we saw a bit more. So it was like you could use this spell to lift someone up, and then you like they did like a super dash real quick. It did a different spell on another person,
Yeah.
and like and then they used elements of the environment to like toss them at other people. So it's like, okay, we're seeing more variation in terms of like how you can approach combat and all like that. And that's when they also showed using the mandrake, using some of your things you craft
Hmm.
in your room requirement in combat. So it looks like there's going to be some variation there in combat. I'm hoping it's not just like standing still to throw a spell and a spell and a spell, and then I do a real flourishy turn to do another spell and a spell,
Yeah.
spell, spell, another flourishy turn, bam, bam, drop my phone, but we're all good. That's what
Yeah.
happens when you do flourishy turns while performing spells. You drop your
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah. Go make sure you got that Apple Care. Um.
I don't anymore, I don't think. But guess what? I always drop my phones and they never crack. So
Hmm,
and I've had iPhones since like 2010, 2011.
nice.
Never have I cracked it.
Uh, Fun fact: I got an iPod Touch for my Christmas like one year and literally dropped and smashed it like the day after.
Ain't that a shame?
Yeah.
Ain't that a
Um.
shame?
One thing I want to quickly tack on to combat is like it does look like you can approach it multiple ways because you can basically make yourself invisible and like sneak up behind enemies. So it looks like there's going to be like you could approach combat like really stealthy if you wanted to, which I think was cool. So
Yeah,
yeah. Um,
it looks
Hogwarts,
fun.
yeah, Hogwarts Legacy looks dope. Releasing probably between October and December this year, I would guess.
Yeah,
Um,
I gotta I when they said that, I was like, all right, now I know that's kind of the time frame I have for when I gotta get my girlfriend a
yeah.
PS5. I gotta get it for her or by then so that she can like it's coming to PS4 too. But like the best way to play it will be
Oh
on
yeah.
next the new gen. So I want to try and get her that so she can play this when it comes out. And also 16, Final Fantasy 16 is actually coming out this year too. So like want to try and make her happy like that.
Yeah. Um, my sister's probably going to steal my controller and play a lot more of this game than I will. She's like a Harry Potter nut. Um, Anywho, we're going to move on to our second main news story, which I'm going to throw over to Tyler for.
Yeah, so this week we got a report about Perfect Dark's development and how it's kind of not going all that well. And this report came from VGC's Andy Robinson, in which he revealed that the game, which is in development by the initiative over at Microsoft and being co-developed by Crystal Dynamics, it has seen nearly half of the initiative's development team leave the studio like in the past year, resulting in there being less than 50 people at the company as of now, according to LinkedIn. And I'm not gonna like read everything from the article or anything. I kind of like bullet pointed really what the main
Yeah.
topic points of this are. But according to interviews of multiple former senior devs from the initiative, the exits mainly resulted from the workplace culture over there. And they kind of note that development progress was slow and the devs felt, quote, a lack of creative autonomy. Uh, and this was mostly attributed to the game's director, Dan Neugerger, and studio head Daryl Gallagher's work methods, which many described as them just basically having major control over creative decisions and not really, again, not really leaving room for that freedom and that
Yeah.
creative autonomy for the devs to have. And some of the devs over there, they even said that they were kind of surprised by how lenient Microsoft was, given the fact that this game has basically made very little progress. So as of now, it's kind of likely that Crystal Dynamics joining the game resulted in a soft reboot of the project and them leading the game now, essentially. Like it seems like, according to sources that Andy Robinson got, like it seems that maybe like Crystal Dynamics is just in the lead position on the game now, and the
Mm,
initiative might be like on the back burner, like support status of the game in a sense. So it's an interesting case that it provides a lot more context for what's going on with Perfect Dark. Because I mean, I remember when the news first came out that that Crystal Dynamics was joining the game. I was I was like concerned. I was like, this doesn't seem like all that good. It's like this gives me room for concern. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on over there? Why are we bringing them in? Like another big name studio like this in on the game? Like, what's going on? And the story adds more context. Like, oh, things really weren't going all that well over there. This seems like why they were brought in to help out.
Yeah, I mean, whenever I hear a game going through this kind of stuff, like it makes me a little sad because obviously we both want every game to do well. Like
Yeah.
there, yeah, that's all I really have to say on that part. But like, I think it made me especially worried because this is one of like, again, I've said this many times in the podcast, but the main issue Microsoft has had over the last almost decade is exclusive games. Like they have been extremely, I'll just go ahead and say lackluster in terms of the exclusive games they've been putting out. They have had like good ones. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everyone has been terrible, but there has been an overwhelming number of them that have been less than great. So to hear that this game is going through this sort of stuff makes me very worried if we are gonna maybe not necessarily see something to the extent of the last decade going into say the next decade, but makes me very worried as to how is Microsoft gonna deal with that? Because like I said, like their main goal should be making good exclusive content. That's if they want to drive Game Pass sales and they want to get more people in their ecosystem, that's what they need to do. They need to have more quality exclusive content on a regular basis. And by regular, I mean like, one or two games a year, right?
Mhm.
So I'm I'm a little worried. I'm I'm really not happy that that the initiative, the people who should be in charge of how this game is being made are kind of on the back burner. So
Seemingly kind
yeah, okay,
of on the
seemingly.
back burner. I don't
Yeah,
want to, let's not say that definitively, but like it seems like they are
yeah.
essentially.
So I'm worried. I'm not happy with that news.
Yeah. And like I saw people online saying that like, you know, Microsoft Microsoft with their whole thing ever since they've been, acquiring studios over the past couple of years has been we're giving them all the freedom they need, take
Yeah,
the time that they need to make stuff. And after this, I saw people saying there's a fine line between, you know, not stepping on people's toes, like giving them time, the freedom that they need, and everything, like being like, hey, do your thing, but also being like, hey, what's going on? Like, how are things
yeah,
going? Like, kind of being like, there's a fine line between overlooking and stepping back. You get what I mean? And it
yeah,
seems like, I don't know if I don't want to say this is the case with all the studios, but with the initiative specifically, it seems like they didn't have the leash tight enough. It seems like they gave them too much free reign, and they weren't overlooking enough to be like, all right, hold on, let's step in, let's get things a bit back on track, let's help things out here, let's try to make things, um, why is there not really much progress being made? All right, what fixes need to happen so that progress can be made on the game? And it seems like they were like, we don't want to have any we don't want anyone saying that we're doing anything, we're being too overbearing on anybody. We're going to step back, let you all have, work on it yourselves at your own pace. And that's kind of resulted in the situation they're in now, where basically not much progress was made, and you got to bring another team to help out, and all these devs are leaving your first party studio because nothing's really working out over there and stuff. It's a tricky situation that Microsoft is in over there with the initiative. And it's something that I saw people saying like they're gonna have to figure that out. They
yeah,
with not just this studio, but all the studios that they now have, they've now bought. They're gonna have to, find that balancing method, that balancing. I don't know. They got to find the right balance. Basically, there's a
yeah,
specific word or phrase I was looking for, but they got to find that right balance and how to manage it with all their different studios.
yeah. I mean, I want to tack on two things to that. One, like it seems like they tried to give them freedom and they actually gave them independence. Where they're like, instead of saying like we're going to give you the freedom to do whatever you want, they've kind of taken too much of a step back and made the initiative kind of like an independent thing, as opposed to like actually just still giving them the freedom to make what they want and make the decisions that they want, but still being there to step in and be like, hey, do you need a hand? Do you need help with something? So
Yeah.
like that kind of worries me. And going into like the second thing I wanted to say was like that kind of worries me for kind of their approach to like acquisitions in general, because they're a way to inherit, like, or they're a way to get, at this point, pending any like legal stuff, they're a way to get one of the video game industry's biggest developers, in terms of like, one, being around the longest, but two, making some of the biggest games in the industry. So
Yeah.
how
Publishers,
is
what you meant to say.
sorry, publishers, yeah. How is that gonna play out? Like the question I have is, are they stretching themselves too thin? Have they acquired too many studios too quickly, so that now,
Hmm.
because like not only are they acquiring studios and publishers, but like you then have to think of it as, okay, well, we're inheriting all these studios and publishers, which means we're inheriting thousands of staff. We're inheriting, probably hundreds of projects. We're inheriting all these legal issues, which is an entirely different scope and like altogether. So I'm I still have confidence in Phil. I don't think that's going to change, but I'm getting a little more worried as to exactly how their strategy is going to work out for them, in terms of, like, I mean, like you said, taking a studio and saying, "Hey, we're just here to give you money and resources. Do what you want." That, like,
Hmm.
I'm a little worried on that front.
And you see, like, part of me feels like that worry might that worry might not really be there for, I'm gonna say, the publishers, the third party publishers that they have acquired. So
Mhm.
Bethesda, like Bethesda has their, like, they still report to Phil and of course and Xbox over there,
Yeah,
but they have their own structure in terms of like how they work on their projects, how they get things
yeah,
done. That has proven well for them in the past. No bugs notwithstanding, but like, like getting
yeah,
games done in timely in the manner that works for them. That, that's one thing. Activision, same deal. Although that might get shifted around in terms of like how Blizzard and everything, all that stuff.
yeah.
But when it comes to Microsoft's own first party, not the ones that they just acquired, these two big publishers, but their own first party, I really wonder, because those are the ones that we've heard. Oh yeah, they give us all these freedom and so on and so forth to get things done. So like reading this made me wonder: is this maybe why Everwild is still also taking so long to come out?
I was thinking
Because
the exact
Everwild, like
same
we've
thing.
heard, like that game has been rebooted for, I don't want to say rebooted, but like I think it was a year or two ago. They did that. They still like were figuring out what the game was,
Yeah,
and like how it even played and all like that. And we had first heard about it when 2017, 2018, like sometime around then, I think. Like it's been so long since we first heard about that game. We still have nothing to show for it. So like there's potentially Fable. Like, okay, when we first heard about that, it was a CG trailer, just basically announcing it's a thing. Okay. But when are we actually going to see stuff from it? Like, what's development going to be like on that game? What's development like on what's the name of the We Happy Few developer? Blanking on their name, but like their next
the
game.
compulsion.
Yeah, Compulsion. Like what's it like over there? Like, is Microsoft giving them too much freedom on whatever the
Yeah.
next project is? Like, what's going on with their own first party studios that they have not bought? These, not the publishers they bought, but their own first party. Like, how is it with all of them? Is Microsoft really giving them too much freedom? Do they need to step in more? Like, what's going on with these projects that we just
Yeah.
have heard about, or like haven't heard about? What's going on with them?
Just for context, we first saw Everwild just under 2.5 years ago.
So 2019.
29, yeah. The reveal trailer was posted on the 14th of November 2019.
Got it. So been a while. It's been
Yeah.
quite a while.
Yeah, but it's like they acquired Compulsion how long ago, and we haven't heard a peep from them since.
That's why I mentioned them.
Yeah.
Like, what's going on? I mean, we know they're working on a game. We know that.
Yeah.
We know what they're working on. Well, we know of a project of sorts that they're working on. We haven't seen it though. So it's like, I wonder when we're going to see that. And that's not to say that game development is easy, but I would have expected us to have seen something from them, considering We Happy Few came out when 2017, 2018. I'm pulling these numbers out of thin air, but these sound right in my head because it feels like it's just been so long since We Happy Few first came out.
When did you say?
2017 or 2018.
2016.
Oh, so it's almost 6 years since that game
Yeah.
came out. Like you would have thought we would have seen something from it. I mean, something new from them since then, but we haven't.
Yeah. I'm very quickly looking through their like the list of first party studios that they have. I mean, like we know what a lot of them are working on. We know that, like, just for instance, Obsidian's working on Outer Worlds 2, Avowed. They've continually updated Grounded, Undead Labs, State Decree 3. I always hate when they put World's Edge in here because World's Edge has always been a support studio. 343
like some of the teams, like I don't really have this worry for.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like I mean, In Exile just released Wasteland 3 not too long ago, I think. But like apparently they've had another game that's been in development for like since they've been acquired by Microsoft, and they were one of the first studios they acquired, right?
I don't know. Couldn't tell me.
I think so. That might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But like, and I've voiced this opinion before that Xbox has a real problem with like games they have announced and games that are releasing soon. Like I mean, like I said, we've talked about this before in the podcast, but it's like Fable was announced like 2 years ago, a year ago, or sorry, it was announced recently, but
it was announced the same year that the Xbox the 2020. Okay, it was announced that same year. It was announced in the summer event that they did.
Yes, I mean that game was announced almost 2 years ago. It's been rumored for a while. Yeah, exactly. Rumored to be in development for ages. So where's that game? And when is it coming? Is it next year, year after that? When is it coming?
And I mean, like, of course, we are not blind to COVID throwing a factor into things. We're not blind to game development itself just being challenging and all like that. Yeah. And we also are aware that in recent years, we've been seeing a lot more announcements of games that are years out, but they're announcements just to get people to join the team, to work on the game itself. Yeah. So we are aware of all of these things.
Yeah, 100%.
But at the same time, it still is a thing of like, maybe don't announce this so early then. Maybe wait a bit closer to when you think it'll actually be coming out. But then again, that runs into the problem of, one, if you wait so long, then like leaks just come on out about the game's existence, or you might have a trouble trying to hire people for a game that you can't tell them what it is. Like, hey, we're working on a game. What is it? Find out when you get here. Yeah. You know, like if you want to like have people excited to work on something, or you say, hey, we're working on this thing. Now you can come. Now we can talk about it freely. Come work on it with us and all. So we understand there are different reasons for why certain things get announced when they do. But at the same time, I guess to paint a picture of comparison, right? Let's go PlayStation, Xbox, right? Last of Us was announced. Last of Us 2 announced 2016, came out 2020. It was announced in 2016. I think we first saw gameplay for it in 2018. I think it was supposed to come out 2019, but then it got delayed to 2020. Ghost of Tsushima announced the same year, 2016, I believe. We first saw gameplay for it, I think, 2 years later, and then it finally came out 2020. Death Stranding came out, was it first announced 2015, I think. Or it actually, I think that was the same. It was 2015 or 2016 when Death Stranding was announced, because I think it was the same show as God of War's reveal. So 2016 is when that was announced. Came out 2019. But we saw gameplay for it, I think, like the following year or something.
Yeah.
God of War announced and gameplay showed the same time. Took 2 years to come out. My point of comparison for all this is that, yes, Sony has announced games fairly early too, and they've taken some time to come out, which is part of why the last like 2-3 years of Sony being at E3 and all, we kind of didn't really it was kind of like I'm kind of seeing the same things a bit, each
Yeah.
show, which is kind of part of why I think they also stepped out from E3 because they announced them a bit too early. But we still saw stuff fairly soon after they were announced. And with Xbox's recent announcements, it's like, where is it? Where is it? What's going on here? We're hearing a lot, or we're not hearing anything from this team at all.
Yeah.
And we know they haven't put out a game in a while. What's going on?
Yeah. No, like that's the thing is like I have no problem with studios or developers announcing games like years before they come out. But like give us some follow through afterwards. Don't just leave it as like an announcement trailer and then like 4 years go by and it's like here's another trailer. Give us like
Like, right, like
yeah,
Everwild. It's like, what's
yeah,
going on?
exactly.
What
So
is that?
yeah, it's like again,
Or
more
Hellblade.
Hellblade is a perfect example
I mean,
because
we
that
just saw some gameplay recently. I think it was the Game Awards. We just saw the gameplay for it,
yeah.
but that was a long time after. That was first announced 2019.
Mm-hmm.
That was a
Yeah.
while before we first saw that game.
Yeah, so it's like again, I have no problem with studios or developers announcing games, years before they come out. Just show us something substantial in between that and don't have it like, okay, like I said, so say you announce a game this year, we're going to give you a trailer. Sorry, we're going to give you gameplay 5 years from now and we're going to release it 6 months after that. Like that doesn't work for me. Like
Yeah.
there needs to be a better timeline of events rather than just here's the game, nothing, 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 nothing. Here's the game.
Yeah. And that goes into a topic I've seen people talk about online. And I feel that could be a discussion for a different episode.
Yeah.
But the topic of Xbox needing to do more shows or like showcase or like state of play type things, state of play direct type things throughout the year, as opposed to just E3, Game Awards, and
Yeah.
maybe Gamescom when we show up with our stuff. Other than that, it's just like quiet from them. We don't hear anything about them. They don't do the state of play type or the Nintendo Direct type events. They do like their idea Xboxes, but like nothing else really from them. And like people have been saying, hey, they need to like maybe bring back Inside Xbox and retool it in a way to actually fit like a direct type of format, as opposed to what Inside Xbox has been. Not to say that you can't still do the type of Inside Xboxes that they were before, but have something else as well, just like to fill these gaps. So it's not just like these long periods of silence from Xbox and their studios or what have you.
Yeah.
Again, that could be a whole different discussion for another day. But what you said and this leads into that.
Yeah. And also, just if anyone from Microsoft is listening, your 3-hour idea Xbox events don't count.
Oh my gosh, I forgot. Yeah, like I read after this one was over. I was like, oh yeah, I wonder how long it was. 3 hours. Y'all don't like to listen.
No. Like, don't make it longer than your E3 presentation. Like, make it like an hour and a half. Sure, that's fine. Like, as long as you have like substantial things to show in that hour and a half, fine. But like, don't make it 3 hours long and most of that be two people talking.
Yeah, that's too long. Too long.
Okay. We're gonna very quickly move on from the Perfect Dark discussion into what we've been playing and round out the episode.
And I'll say we can take like a little bit of time. So I don't want us to rush to this. I could bounce out in like 15-20 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
So yeah, we could take a little bit of time on this.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I feel 3 of the games that I don't have a lot to say about, but I will I'll throw it to you first because I'm actually really interested to hear your thoughts about that first one that you have.
Okay, so yeah, this week I jumped into GTA 5 a bit this week because they put out the new gen version of it, and I really didn't play much. I played for about half an hour or so, just enough to like get a feel for like all I was really like drive around the world, right? I didn't do any missions or anything. But first up, loading times much faster, much faster loading times. That's always a good thing. Switching between the characters also felt like it went by faster too, as opposed to like how long it would take before, which is also good. You have the 3 different performance modes: fidelity, which is ray tracing on 4K, 30 FPS. I believe Rockstar says it's native 4K. Then there's performance, which is 60 FPS, and they say upscaled 4K, no ray tracing. And then there's performance RT, ray tracing, 60 FPS, different resolution, and the ray tracing is there, but less like lower scale, of course. Um, so for me personally, like I have no problem playing game in 30 FPS, right?
Yeah.
So I turned that one on first, was driving around, and I drove around during the day and I drove around at night to see what the ray tracing was like in the area near Franklin's house, which is supposed to be like the Hollywood
Yeah.
strip essentially, with movie theaters and the lights and everything. And like just driving around, shining lights on cars and everything. I was like, wow, the lighting is like damn good. Like damn good. It looks good and everything. I haven't watched Digital Foundry's like actual breakdown yet because they put out like a 20-minute video comparing PS4 to PS5 to PC. Um, but from what I saw in my eyes, it looked good and all. There was one thing I noticed that I don't know if it was in the original game, but it threw me off when I caught it with the ray tracing because the ray tracing made this very glaringly apparent. And there's a building. I don't know. I think it might be all buildings that actually do this, but any building that has like a bunch of windows on the outside with like reflections for you to see, the reflections, the ray tracing reflections, it's weird because it'll show the reflection will be like what is next to you. So it's hard for me to explain without showing you. But there's a building that you kind of go by that's somewhere near Franklin's house, right?
Mhm.
And when you're going down a hill with the ray tracer reflections on, it's like a building that's in construction, right?
Oh yeah.
When you're going down the hill, though, there's a side of it facing you that is just window, right? Reflection.
Mhm.
When you're going down, that reflection, it is like straight up what is right behind you. It's not like reflecting something. It's not a natural
Oh
reflection. It's a
yeah.
distracting reflection. Because I was driving and I was like, wait, what the heck? And I paused. I was like, why does that look like the street? And I turned the camera. I was like, wait, that building over there is reflecting this sidewalk right here. It's showing the reflection of this sidewalk in the staircase from this building that's behind me. It was very
Hmm.
weird and bizarre and distracting. So I was like, let me drive down the street a bit just to see like how this reflection is. And like the reflection, that was my test. Like the reflection is showing me what is very close to me. It's not like reflecting the
Yeah.
world at that level. It's showing me what's directly behind me. It was very weird. It
Mm.
was like it kept doing that as I drove. I was like, huh. So I drove past that building and I would like turned around and was going past others. I noticed the same thing happening on others that had like smaller windows, but the same thing. I was like, that's weird. It's very weird. So like, and like when you put it on the different performance modes, like performance and performance RT, the same thing happens, but you don't notice it as much because the reflection isn't ray traced as well. Like it's either no ray
Yeah.
tracing on performance or RT performance, it's a lower scale resolution on ray tracing. So you don't really notice it. It's not that distracting. But in the in the fidelity mode, you notice it. And it's just like, ooh, wait a minute. Like I don't remember if that was in the original game at all. Probably because there was no ray tracing, so I couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
But with the ray tracing on, it's just like, oh no, whoa, that was bizarre. It's very weird. It was really weird.
Mm.
All that is that one oddity aside, though, the game looks damn good. Like in fidelity mode, sharp 4K, it looks great. So much so that when I put it in the performance modes, like the game is so much smoother at 60 FPS. Cannot deny that. Granted, I didn't get into like any big shootouts with explosions or anything like that, so I can't
Yeah.
speak to like how the performance fared in those cases. But the game was running so much smoother. It felt great. For me personally, I noticed like just like the drop in resolution. I was just like, I don't know if I like this. Like it felt weird for me
Yeah.
looking at it like that. So I don't know how much the resolution drops in the performance modes. Um, but I feel to my eye, it seemed like a significant drop. I'd have to see what again the digital foundry breakdown is of
Yeah.
like what the actual resolutions are, but it seemed like a significant drop. And I was like, I don't know if I want to play it like this or if I'd rather just play it with the 4K 30. I'm not sure. I'd have to see, but
Yeah.
I'll get back to it at some point in time. For right now, just like I just wanted to fiddle around with it, have an opinion on it of some sort
Yeah.
for this episode.
Um. So I don't know if you saw my tweet on Twitter, but I so this the GTA 5 remake remaster came out on Tuesday, and on Monday I saw a bunch of videos being put on YouTube of like comparisons between like PS4 and PS5, Series X and Xbox One, stuff like that. And I watched like a bunch of them, and I'm like, I must be seeing this wrong. So I went over because I was watching them on my phone, went over and watched them on my like very nice 4K TV, and I was like, nope, nope, they just look exactly the same to me. Like I don't notice any. Well, there was like two clips maybe that I noticed like any difference whatsoever, but for 90% of what I saw, I was like, this, I am not paying $10 for that.
See, it's like the lighting is. I feel like the lighting, in my opinion, is better, especially with the HDR and everything.
Mm,
Lighting is better, and I've seen some comparison shots. Like textures are better if you're really, really looking at them like that.
mm,
Um, I think the big thing for this would be if you want to play it with ray tracing and at a nice sharp 4K, or if you want to play it at 60 FPS on console. If
yeah,
those are the two things that matter to you, then it's worth it. If you're looking for like major changes, like going from GTA 5 facial animations and visuals to like Red Dead Redemption 2 visuals and facial animations, you're looking in the wrong place. It's not going to be like that.
oh
It's still a PS5 upgrade of a PS4 port of an originally PS3 game.
yeah,
So, like, the expectations need to be there. It all depends on kind of what you are expecting and want out of it. Also, the faster load times. Honestly, I feel like the faster load times make the $10 worth it. It only takes like it takes less than a minute to get into the main game, as opposed to the
oh,
over minute and a half
yeah,
on PS4 and 3 Xbox One. So, like, that alone is more than worth it.
yeah. And like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't expecting like, like a like 8K hyper realistic graphics where like it looks like I'm playing in real life. That's not what I was expecting at all. But like I was like, I was expecting like a bit more of a graphical performance update than like looking the same. So I was like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm not buying that.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, if you think you would ever want to play GTA 5 on your Series X, get it at $10. Well, get it on your Series X or PS5. Get it at $10 or $20 as opposed to the full 40 in 3 months.
Yeah.
I'll say that much. Think
Yeah,
of it
I
like
mean,
that.
yeah, I mean, I was like, I'm not in any rush to play GTA 5 again. I'll wait for it to
Right.
either go on sale or like maybe be included in like PS Plus 1 month or so. I don't know. But
Chances
um
of that happening are slim to
yeah.
none. Tell you that
Yeah,
much.
but I was like, I'll wait for it to go on sale.
The other game I played this week though was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and that was mainly it was like a spur of the moment thing. Like Friday, the new tracks dropped, but the first wave of the new set of tracks in the booster pass,
Yeah.
and I was like, what the heck? I'll buy it. So I bought the booster pass and play on the new tracks, right? And it's cool. I like them. Playing on the tracks in Mario Kart Tour, the phone game, it's interesting. It's cool for me. I'm like, oh, I've never heard of these tracks
Mm,
before. So one of them is like in Paris, and it's cool because I think on the phone game, well, the phone version, the tracks, like the way the track layout is, varies based on just like every time you play on that track, right? So it's like multiple routes to go on. But in the deluxe, the track layout, the direction you go on changes each lap. So the first lap you'll
okay.
go left, say for example, but the second lap you go right. And
Mm,
then the third lap for the Paris track has you basically going backwards on it. I was like, oh, that's cool. That's neat.
mm,
Then there's another, I think there are two other maps from Tour that are in the DLC. One of them I forgot the name of, but the other one, Ninja Hideaway. It's the last track in the second new cup that they give you. And that track is so cool. It's so cool. It's like has a whole ninja design and everything. It's like you're going through like a ninja training dojo in a sense, kind of sort of.
mm.
But the layout and just the aesthetic is so well done. I really like that track. Like I've seen people call it out as like a fan favorite, and I'm like, that's the one. That's the one. I like this one a lot. I'm loving this one a whole lot here. It's really cool. Um, so yeah, it's awesome. I'm enjoying it so far. And I'm like, I'm like a Mario Kart again. I'm like a Mario Kart. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next
Nice.
set of tracks are. I saw someone on Twitter say, replacing Smash speculation with Mario Kart speculation is a good trade. I'm just like, you're right. I wonder what's next. I wonder what's next.
Yeah, no, like I might steal my sister's copy of Mario Kart 8 and buy the track pack. I haven't played Mario Kart in years.
Mm.
So I've played 4 games that I want. I did have 5 on here, but I took one of them out just because I don't want to talk about it. But
I thought there were 5 on here. I thought I was like, wait, maybe I'm
yeah,
crazy.
I mean, the 5th one was the Spider-Man remastered for PS5, but like
Yeah,
I literally just booted that up to swing around a bit. So
gotcha.
yeah, I'm kind of gonna go in reverse order of how I have them here, just in like order of like the things I have to say about them. Sea of Thieves, not a whole lot. I played it for about 3 or 4 hours last night with a few of my friends. Their latest update added in these like ghost forts for you to do. Like they're not like regular forts where like they have like a massive marker in the sky to like indicate that it is available to do. You just happen upon them. And if they're glowing green, then they can be done. And it's honestly not a significant update in any way, shape, or form because they play almost the exact same as regular forts. They have like a new layout. They look different, and you're fighting ghosts instead of skeletons. That's really the only difference between them. The bit like the best thing about this update by far is the music that plays during when you're doing this fort because it sounds like a mariachi band, which is really good. I really enjoy that. But other than that, really not anything special about this update.
Okay.
Also the like battle pass renown or like the renown pass rewards for this season are terrible. I don't like any.
Well, that's the
Yeah.
disappointment.
I played about 4 or 5 hours of Returnal this week though.
Neat.
Been getting a bit further in this game. Before I hadn't gone outside the first biome and I'd been in the house once. Now I am in the third biome.
Nice.
And I've been in the house like 2 or 3 times, maybe 4, 3 or 4 maybe. This game is getting more and more fun the more and more I play it. It's a real good game. I really like how like once you've unlocked one of the biomes, you don't have to then have to entirely redo the first biome to get back to the second one.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a shortcut you could. Well, no, there's a shortcut you can do that. Like, oh wait, hold on. So wait, you're saying that? What are you saying? You're talking about the shortcuts, or just that like once you know how to get through it, you could just like kind of speed.
No, as in like so that the gate that takes you through to the Crimson Sands instead of the fungal area, or the jungle area even. Like you don't have to go through the entire jungle area and beat the boss again to like activate the portal.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to replay the entire first biome to get into the second. You can just find the gate. But I also like that when you spawn in, you don't have to then walk through the entire jungle biome and the Crimson Sands biome to get to the third one. You can just
you can find the shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. I really like that. The one like alien weapon I found so far was one that shot like acidic, like
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm blanking on the name though.
I didn't like it. It fired way too slow for me. Like my
my
favorite weapon in this game, I forget what it's called, but it's one that it fires so quickly and like the ammo, like the clip like indicator on screen is just like 1,000 tiny little dots. It's my favorite
Is it
weapon.
the carbine?
No, it's the hot maybe. I don't know. I forget the name. It begins with an H, I think.
Okay. I might know it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I'm also discovering like there are a lot of layers to this game. Like there are a lot of like things you
story
can find.
layers.
Yeah,
and just it's
so
a lot.
Like, yeah, the thing that you can activate for 6 ether that is basically like a resurrection thing. So it resurrects you in this routine rather than starting your run all over again. Or what's the other ones I found? You can find like I'm really liking it whenever I find one of like the language things and I get to like decode. I love that.
That's so cool. I loved it. Again, that's part of why I love the story so much. It's like you getting so engrossed and enveloped in it. It's just like, oh my gosh, you want to find out so much more. Question: how was that second boss for you? Because that second boss was a bit of a pain for me. I mean, I
Yeah.
died on him once, but I had the astronaut, so I was able to get past it. Or did I die?
Ah.
I think yeah, that's how I got past the second boss. Luckily, but the
Yeah.
second boss is still a pain.
Oh yeah, no, like 100%. The first boss was really easy to figure out because you learn its
Mhm.
move set in like 3 attacks, and then okay. I'm good for this. But
Right.
then the second boss, like the move set kind of like evolves really dramatically between the first and second like
Mhm.
health bar, to the point where like I think I died maybe like 1 or 2 times to that boss before I beat it. But um the bosses in this game are no joke. I mean, like
They're not.
honestly, any enemy in this game is no joke. Because like I've died a lot to just like those little dog things that shoot the blue orbs. Like I've died a lot to those, or
Right.
the little
The
flying enemies.
octopus.
Yeah, like this game is hard, dude. Like
I'll tell
it's
you.
challenging.
I'll tell you this: the third boss fight. It's an epic boss fight. It just in many ways. I'm not gonna say more than that, but that one I almost died. I was like, I'm not dying. I'm not dying. I'm not dying. And I almost died many times, but I made it through. It's a crazy boss fight. It's a crazy boss fight.
Yeah, I think the only reason that I was able to beat the second boss as easily as I did when I beat him was because I was like, right, I need to prepare for this boss fight. So I went round and found every health pack,
Yep.
every
That's
parasite.
the
Like,
incentive. And like,
yeah,
even if you die, like that's the incentive like of not using the shortcuts. It's like, I want to be strong enough to take on this
yeah,
boss when I get to it. So
yeah. So like by the end of it, my health bar went from like that to like that.
nice.
Um,
Nice.
which
Awesome.
would yeah,
I'm
because
happy
I
you're enjoying it more.
yeah, no, 100%. Finished Halo. I'm just gonna rapid fire through this because I don't want to keep you too much longer. Um, I finished Halo Infinite. I like that's not really a big achievement. I was on the last mission. Like I was at the Harbinger fight when I stopped playing it. So um, like ending really fell flat for me. Like it did not like give me any satisfaction whatsoever.
Do you feel like part of that's because it's been months since you played it?
Honestly, no. Like
Okay.
I still remember everything that happened. I still remember like the events that led up to that point. Um, I do like that. I don't know if I should talk about the thing I was waiting to say because I don't want to spoil it. I like that you get to have a conversation with someone, or like maybe not a conversation,
Oh,
but like
I think I know what you're talking about, the hologram stuff that
yes,
happens.
yeah.
Yeah, that
I
was
like
cool.
I like that happened, and you get like a little bit of closure. Um,
That I feel like that right. I kind of alluded to it in my review a bit, but I feel like that kind of helped make things from the past retroactively better. In a
yeah,
sense where it's
yeah,
like
I agree.
it's like that right there was just like, okay, it really depends on how you feel about it and all, but it's like either it lands for you and makes that stuff worth it, or it's like I still don't care about it at all. It again for me it made it retroactively, but I was like,
Yeah,
okay, now we can say that we are officially good. We're good, and we can
yeah.
keep on going.
Um, I just thought that last cutscene with the weapon and Echo 216, I was like, what was the result of this cutscene? Like, there was no like end of game like revelation, or there was no thing to hook me on to the next part of Halo Infinite. Like even that last cutscene with the brute. Again, I don't want to go
Post
into
credits, the
yeah,
post credit stuff. Yeah,
yeah. Like even that last cutscene with the like post credit stuff, I was like, what does that give me, dude? Like this does not give me anything. This is
that
just
that gives a lot, and I would go into it, but I'm not going to go into it right now.
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Also, because of spoilers, like aside, spoilers, but like
yeah,
that gives a lot.
yeah. It's probably just me being dumb, but like I was like, don't care. Like this did not do anything for me. So like I still really enjoyed the game overall. Like
Mhm.
it's a good Halo game, but
Yeah.
ending was a little bit meh. Um, an ending that I really didn't enjoy was Ghost of Tsushima, but like not that it was a bad ending, right?
I
Like
was
it
sitting
was
here, I'm like, wait, what?
no,
How
it
do
was
you
a
not
good
like
end.
it?
It was a good ending to the game. Okay, in your opinion, can I talk about what happens at the end of the game, or am I going to spoil it for people considering it's been out for like 2 years?
I would say talk around it,
Okay.
however, as best you can.
Okay. Um,
'Cause I'll
I
say, well, I mean, we can say like at the end of the game, like there is a very personal duel that happens,
yeah,
and you get to make your decision about how that duel plays out.
yeah. So, I spent a solid like 20 minutes trying to lose that fight because I was like, I
Mm,
don't want to do this. Like,
yeah,
I don't. This is not what I want for the end of this game. Purely from a like personal. I don't want to fight one of my favorite characters in this game.
yeah,
So, um, I saved them. That's all I'll say on that
yeah.
because yeah, because like
I did the
when,
same thing.
yeah, like when I realized that like I couldn't not win that fight and I had to win that fight in order for the story to progress, then I was like, okay, I'm just gonna uh not do everything in my power to not kill this person because
Yeah.
I don't want to. I just like I don't like how it like fades to sunset if that like if that makes sense to you. Like again, I'm trying to dance around it.
No, I mean it doesn't. That's not dancing. It literally is just like it's a fade to white. It's a fade to white. It's
Yeah.
yeah. I guess you could say like yeah, it's a tad abrupt, but I think like that was like the perfect way to wrap up, like to end that main storyline. And then like after the credits, it brings it back up, and then like you have a conversation with someone in game.
Yeah.
Um, if you weren't satisfied with that, you will be very satisfied once you finish Iki Island, because
Okay.
Iki Island is like a nice epilogue bow tie on the story. Like it doesn't have anything to do with what happens in the main story, not entirely. At least the main story's ending, I should say. But the way Iki Island's story goes and plays out and wraps up, it's just like, bam, perfect epilogue. A
Okay.
nice epilogue, I
Yeah,
think.
because I like I wanted like all I wanted from the ending was to like make amends and go back to being awesome with this other person, but that didn't happen.
Life doesn't work out that way. Stories
No,
don't
no,
always work
yeah,
out
yeah,
that way, man.
exactly. And like that's like I do kind of like that about the ending is like I don't get what I want, right? Because like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of games kind of finish in the way that like you would expect and you want to happen, whereas this one is
Yeah.
just like no, like screw you, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So
So I guess let me clarify then. The Iki Island DLC will not do that for the main story,
God
but
damn it.
it's still a really
Okay.
nice way to wrap up this story, just providing closure for certain aspects.
Okay.
And it provides closure, and it's like awesome, nice bow tie, nice epilogue, cool.
Yeah. Last thing I will say on Ghost of Tsushima again, just because I want to wrap up quickly, is that 100% in my top 5 games I've ever played.
That's a high bar. That's awesome.
Like not a doubt in my like it. The only reason I'm not saying top 3 is because like I genuinely like can't make a list that short, but like 100%, it's an impeccable game.
It really is, which is why I'm hoping we get a sequel. I would
Oh
love
yeah,
like
hundred
here's the thing.
percent.
I would love a sequel, but we don't need a sequel.
Exactly. Yeah, the story left off that like you could just leave it there and it would make absolute sense. But
Uh-huh.
I I want a sequel purely because I want to play more. That's going to round out episode 50 of the Play to Win podcast. Thank you all very much for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard or watched, then you can go ahead and subscribe here on YouTube and our podcast services, and you'll get, any new episodes or videos whenever they go live. You can also find the stuff we post on our website, playtowinyourgames.wordpress.com, where you will find basically a library of all our content, as well as if you want to learn a bit more about us or you want to look at our review policy, you can do that there as well. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PlayToWinGame, where you will get updates on the show as well as any other stuff that we might post. You might want to keep your eye on our socials over the next few days, I'll say,
Yeah,
for
got
some stuff.
two things that we're gonna be one thing we're gonna tease and one thing we're gonna announce this coming week.
Mhm.
Very excited about both of them.
Yeah.
So look forward to them. Look forward to them both.
Also, just as a quick thing, Keep an eye out for next week's episode because we have
That's
something
the
cool.
that's the thing I want to talk about. I'm gonna announce.
Yeah.
I'm gonna officially announce that next
Yeah.
week.
No, I wasn't going to say anything else other than keep an eye out for it because it's going to be
Yeah.
super cool. Yeah, Tyler, where can people find you?
Find me on Twitter at Tyler Miller 2496, where again I talk about a bunch of different things. If you do follow me on Twitter, you saw, you would have seen that I tweeted out my Horizon review is not out this week. If you sub to the channel, you also see it's not out this week. Reason being, just did not have the mental capability to do it this week. This past Sunday, just knock it out in a day. Basically, just had a mental block breakdown of sorts. So just like, nope, cannot do it. So Horizon review is delayed a few weeks. It's still going to happen. It will just be coming out in April as opposed to now. But hopefully still look forward to it. It'll be out sometime in April. I don't want to say when in April. It will be out in April. Certainly, because there are others I want to do, and others I want to do are contingent on me finishing this Horizon review. So I can't do other things until I finish it.
Yeah.
So it'll be out in April.
Nice. You can find me on Twitter and Twitch at Badlynet, BADLYNET, all one word. If you want to watch me struggle learning how to code, come and follow me on Twitch. I'm going to be starting streaming that probably at some point this week. So keep an eye out on my Twitch for that, and then or my Twitter, because I'll be announcing it there as well. Thank you all very much for watching episode 50, and we will see you all next week for a very special episode.
Have a great one, guys.